everybody. It is 7:17. I'm now calling the Sherborn Conservation Commission meeting of November 7th, 2024 to order with a roll call of who's present. Michael Lesser present. Jacob.
Jacob Strauss present.
Matt.
Matt O'Leary present.
Steve.
Steve Scrimshaw present.
Courtney.
Courtney Eck present.
Okay. Are there any issues that we need to add to the agenda under the 48-hour rule? Okay, hearing none, we shall proceed with the meeting. Let's see, till 7:20, we've got 2 minutes. And let's see, does anybody have any announcements? Okay, hearing none. Moving on, we have an administrative approval here, application for 247 South Main Street. Was that out of jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see, there are some minutes there, but we don't have time for that quite. Let's see. Are any of the certificates of compliance quick?
There are two. But your first meeting is a discussion. You can roll right into it, can't you?
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. Fine. Let's just, oh, well, I guess if everybody's here. I guess Kelly, is anybody else showing up on the?
No, Carol, Xenia is here, Sam is here. Carol is the only other one of your current and past couple of years land management working group. Carol can't be here, so we are making the proposal to you that you've got.
Okay, fine, then let's start the discussion, since it's at 7:20 and everybody else is here. Okay, how do you want to do it?
Just I assume everybody's got the memo, has read it. Very briefly, land management was a little bit chaotic for many years. A lot has stabilized, really gotten in good shape over the past couple of years, but a great deal of new stuff to do. And between Xenia, Sam, Carol, and me, none of us are commission members. The working group, the group of people working on land management, really needs to expand to include some of you. I know a number of commission members have an interest in and some experience in this, and hope to set up a process over the next 2 months or so for the rest of the year to resolve as much as we can going into the fiscal 2026 budget proposal.
Okay,
And I assume there would be a bunch of questions.
okay, for people, there's the 2 pages in the folder about what he's talking about that we have and then I also stuck in the folder the land management plan, Ted's documents from previously, which we first looked at had to go back to March, I think, to find those documents, where we went through and we approved doing some of the DPW work. And then there was also the other work that would be contractors. So in there literally is a whole plan. Plus we also have, I don't know to what, I can't remember. I guess you could tell me to what extent some of the reports that were done over the last number of years, to what extent any of their recommendations were also just factored in.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
All of this. So this is it's called the Vegetation Management Plan. Um, I don't know whether there's other things that are non-vegetation management, or is that everything that is
But
management?
there are a couple of trail recommendations, but almost all of it, and everything of financial consequence to the commission is vegetation management.
Mhm. Okay. Um, well, I guess we have, well, there are two members not here. Um, Can't remember last time when we talked about the fact that we need some of us, a few of us, to join this lovely group that's done a lot of work for us and needs to have some more resources plus a better link to us.
Yes.
And I don't know what others here think. And what questions you might have in terms of time commitments or this or that, or how it would be done, because
Yeah, or does anybody have questions about background, how it was done in the past? We've got a fairly long list of new issues that are coming up that are not in that memo, but there is really quite a lot of work to be done.
So I've got three of you here. At the moment, there'll be a little, at the moment, I'm a little busy being chair and other things, or co-chair. I don't know what Courtney's thinking. I would like some other commissioners to step up and participate in this process. I can't remember if Terry had expressed some interest in this or not. I mean, even
I
though,
think she had.
Yeah.
Doesn't Terry have a technical background?
oh yeah,
She is a master gardener.
Yeah, she knows about plants.
that's for sure.
Is this
I'm
a case
formally
of
nominating
nominating
Eric.
someone who's not here?
I I guess, you know, I'm happy to participate, you know, in order to get things done, but if others in the commission are interested, I want to make sure that others can get, you know, first dibs so that we don't have like a quorum issue.
Steve, you have been involved in a bunch of this.
Yes, I'm interested in being more involved.
Cheers.
Good.
So Terry is drafted, Steve volunteers.
Jacob and Matt?
I like the idea, but I'm concerned about about adding more time commitments right now.
I'm flat out. And chasing kids. High school, 2 jobs. I'm done. This is my 3rd job.
Well, maybe we can get the kids to do some of the work.
They're happy to do it. They need the community service hours. They'll do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So we do have some kids that we can, so you can offer up your,
I've actually come on and said that before when we were talking about it in a different context in terms of Farm Pond and moving rocks. I've got a senior and a sophomore, and they all need community service. So if you guys ever need real dumb football player labor, I've got you guys.
hey, Sam, you chime in on this point.
You're on mute, Sam.
Sam, you're so excited you forgot to unmute.
yes. And he can't even unmute it now. He just went off and on. Okay, Sam. Anybody can lip read?
Okay, here we
He's
go.
very good.
Here we go. Yes,
Whoa!
we did it.
Did it? All right. Okay. So sorry about those false starts. We have been interested in trying to see whether we could recruit some students who need community service for some of our projects. We have you know, a big program to try to manage some of the invasives, and we were talking about this specifically in terms of stiltgrass over in Barber, which is very, very easy to pull. It just needs to be pulled. And we were thinking that if we could get perhaps a group of high school students who need some community service and bring them down there and maybe give them lunch and maybe a little bit of music to pull weeds by, we might be able to get a whole lot done. So let me, maybe I can reach out to you, Matt, and see if you can put me in touch with some folks at the high school that might be worth talking to.
Sure. How many kids, just out of curiosity, how many kids are you thinking of at any particular time? I mean, like 5 or 50, like what are we talking about?
Oh, I would say probably somewhere between those two. I think 50 would be just too much to try to handle. 5, we could probably use more than 5. It's not that big an area, but if we really want to get it all done, probably a group of about a dozen, I think would be good.
Okay.
And Sam, there's some garlic mustard that, am I muted?
No,
No, you're,
No.
No, I'm not. There's garlic mustard, in Bailey and several places, Leland and other places around, that we could use some people early in the spring. The timing might be different. So I think we have several projects for volunteers.
Peter's Hill also on the garlic, but the stilt grass is something that could be done now.
It's been mowed.
But could it be pulled now? I mean, when do you want to do this, Sam?
You don't need to pull it now because it's an annual.
Yeah, I think it's done for this particular season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When
But
it all
people-
sprouts up again from the millions of seeds.
Yeah, the problem is when is that going to happen in the spring?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the great things about this spreadsheet that Kelly mentioned in the handout that we gave you is that Xenia's daughter Asha is putting together this amazing spreadsheet, which will be able to break down a variety of tasks according to who's doing it, when it needs to be done, where it needs to be done. So there is we will have a complete calendar of all the different invasives and when's the ideal time to go after them.
Yeah,
So
the only reason I'm pushing this one is because for the kids who want their service, and they might want to do it before the spring to get it over with in terms of that. So think of whether, in terms of the senior possibilities, that Matt's kid is one of them is in.
I think we
Is
have
any
a lot of,
now?
I think we have a lot of bittersweet that needs to be pulled right now.
Yeah, the other thing is I'll
Anytime.
just try to figure out if there's somebody over at the school who coordinates that. I suspect there is a person who sort of is in charge of the, program. And if you got in touch with them a few weeks, ahead of time and said, hey, we could use, 14 kids here on Saturday, I bet you they could send out an email and you could get your 14 kids. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I suspect it. So I can organize stuff in the short term with just the kids that we know, but I'd also like to get you hooked up directly into the school so that, in the coming years and in different seasons, you can have access to that because it would be great. I think it'd be a great idea to get kids outside and doing stuff like that just for themselves as young adults, but it would also help you guys out. So I think it's a win-win.
right.
Beautiful.
Okay, so you guys know how to reach each other. Sam and Matt, you have your emails, you can reach each other or however.
Yeah, I have Matt's email. I can contact him.
Yep.
Okay,
Now for Terry, Steve, and at least for the immediate future, Courtney, can we bring you in? Just 3 of you.
Yeah.
Assuming we're gonna meet by Zoom, can we call on Deb or some way to organize the Zoom calls?
or I could work with Courtney. Courtney, you know how to,
I can't
okay, fine.
set them up. They time out at whatever, 40 minutes or
I can set them up if you tell me
yeah.
when you want them, and you can just text me and bug me. So that only takes a few minutes to do it. I mean, obviously a fallback is maybe getting, Jeannie sometimes sets up meetings for people. Jeannie Guthrie. So, but whatever, you can, sort of collar me and I'll set up and I can give you the Zoom links. And even if you give me a few of them, you're not sure which ones, I can just generate them and you can decide which ones you want to use. Although, let's see, if I generate it, I guess, can I make somebody a host beforehand? Or do I have to open it? We'll have to do an experiment. To
Yeah,
see
we'll
what-
figure it out.
Yeah. We'll work on that.
Okay.
Okay,
I will figure out when a good time is and we'll get going.
great.
I think that's all we need.
Hey, sounds good to me. Thank you for folks who are going to work on this. Thank you to you, and thank you to you guys for all the work you're doing and will be doing and have done. So it's well appreciated. Okay. Any other questions on the land management stuff? Issues? Okay. We will move on. We have about 17 minutes. Do you want to do the certificates of compliance?
So we have two certificates of compliance. Both are septic systems that were constructed and completed. They have installed their monuments. The grass is growing. In some cases, trees were planted along the edge. So both of them meet the requirements that we had outlined in the orders of conditions. And the first one is DEP file number 283-440, 15 Pleasant Street. And then the second one is 283-0452, which is 27 Farm Road.
Okay, guess we should do them separately. So each one, like on Farm Road, they've put all their rocks and barriers and
Yes.
and all the monuments that they are on the plan. So the as-built basically confirm that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions to ask about that? They're in the folder with the files.
For these ones, did we not have conditions about the new plant surviving for a growing season or something of that form? So I saw one of them was just completed a month or two ago.
Don't know that we had a time frame because for septic systems, that's kind of burdensome.
I see. Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Based on Farm Road, I'm not seeing a lot of plantings as opposed to cutting off areas to be left unmanaged.
So on that one, they put the rocks and left the grass beyond that, and there's markers there.
Okay,
So it was actually done very well.
I move that we grant a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 283-0452, 27 Farm Road for their septic system.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, I. Jacob,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Okay. And the other one, I guess I didn't look as closely at the plan, so, but okay, if it's met the, as per your choice, has done the field work. I move that we grant a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 283-0440 for 15 Pleasant Street septic system replacement.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, sorry, Michael, I. Jacob,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
aye.
Matt,
Aye. Sorry.
okay, that's all right. Okay, so I've done the certificates of compliance. Let's go to some, we did the manager station. Let's go to the minute. Let's get the minutes done. I don't know, I guess. Courtney's read them, I've read them, Jacob, you've read them and had a few, just some small typos that I will make.
Yep.
Otherwise, you didn't have any other
That's correct.
things there. I don't know whether Steve or Matt, three of us have looked at it, whether you guys have had a chance. Obviously it was done. There wasn't a lot of time for that.
I haven't seen it yet, but if you guys, Jacob can be my proxy.
Okay, I'm glad. I won't ask what I am, but
Well, I just trust him more.
okay. You like bluntness, I appreciate that.
I'm kidding.
I know. Can't resist. Steve, do you want to see them or can we move on them?
I don't need to see them. I looked for them a little bit, but I didn't find them. But anyway, I don't need to see them.
Okay, I move that, let's see here. I'm gonna go back here. I move that we approve the minutes. Oh, actually, there's a third set there too. Forgot about that. I move that we approve the minutes for February 15th, 2024, March 7th, 2024, and March 21st, 2024, as the drafts in the folder.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Michael, I. Jacob,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Okay, so I got the minutes done, beginning to catch up a little better. And again, thanks to Courtney. Let's see what we've got next. Before, what do we got here now? Geez, we're ahead of schedule and I don't have anything. Joyce, do you have any site issues or questions?
No, I can't even invent any, sorry.
Okay. Let's see, since they're all public hearings with scheduled times.
Can I ask a question about a site then?
Oh yeah,
When
by
is-
all means.
When is so we had the site visit for the farm pond pathway. When is that next on the schedule for discussion or whatever the next step there is?
It's kind of in their hands because they have a number of comments from DEP that they need to address. So I think, and they can be addressed simply. They just have to get those together. And I think they'll have to get themselves back on our agenda.
Okay, so essentially we're waiting for responses or a next set of plans or something before that'll come up. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
I think now that you've said that, I can reach out and just see what their thoughts are.
Joyce, we're waiting for you. So
I don't know which one are you referring to? Are you referring to
the Farm Pond site path, we're waiting for you to schedule a visit. Is that not correct?
No, we had a visit.
You did and you didn't tell us?
I don't know how that fell through the cracks or whether we thought everybody was on the mailing list. Jeannie arranged it.
When was it?
Week or two ago? 2 weeks ago?
maybe a month and a half ago?
A month and a half? Wow, time flies. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was the big interest outside of the commission for that one.
We're very interested in what happens with that path. Because I'm on Farm Pond Committee. And
Oh, yeah, of course.
and they keep at every meeting they ask me, because I was the person who was supposed to be on who was supposed to be following this and letting the committee know.
Oh,
Never heard. I've been talking with the secretary, your secretary, what is her name?
Deborah?
Deborah. I guess
Um,
I-
So I see that Tom,
Yeah, Tom, did you want to
Yeah.
wait?
I'm in a similar boat as Zenya. I've been waiting to be notified about that site walk for the last 2 months.
Wow.
I apologize. I was not aware that I was not aware that you all were needed to be included.
We-
I apologize.
We
Um,
made several comments at the last time you had a hearing where the town had the design engineers and we were to, some of those comments, I believe, were to be addressed at the site walk.
Well, we might have to have another one.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll schedule another site visit.
Yeah, I mean, because,
Not a problem, because it's still, everything's still pending.
yeah,
They
Well-
had some issues they had to resolve, so maybe that could result in another site visit.
why don't
I-
you put,
I
push
think
them
I don't
it's
to,
want-
pretty important to include the Farm Pond Committee.
no, I can't tell how
Yeah,
much
I-
we, need
we,
Jeannie to do it and
I
so,
think it had been so long since we had opened that hearing before a site visit was actually scheduled, that we completely spaced on the details.
Mm.
Um,
I remember that there was a date, I think, at one time, and then that was, I don't know what happened, but that was canceled, and then we're still waiting.
yeah,
okay, well, why don't we push them to see how they react to the comments, Joyce, and then we can just schedule another one.
Can the rest of us be copied on this correspondence with comments soon?
We don't know about the comments.
Well, it's just on from DEP's website,
can
and I
send it
can
to
forward
everybody.
that to you.
Yeah, why don't you just send it out to everybody
Yeah.
and keep a chain? Who else should be on the chain of people?
Well, the Farm
whole-
Pond Committee has a email node list, so
okay.
fpac.sherborn or something.
Okay,
Jeannie has that.
okay, and does that catch you, Xenia, or do we include you separately?
No, I'll be on that, and
Okay.
the rest of the committee will too.
Okay, and Tom, would you be on that, or we have
Yeah,
to get?
I'm on that. There's several
Okay,
non-committee members also on that email node.
okay, so we'll just include that on any of our correspondence on that stuff.
Thank you.
So
So-
the permit wasn't going anywhere for the longest time because there was no DEP file number. And so there was also confusion about when and if it had been filed with DEP. And then I guess at some point is now officially, on DEP's radar, and they actually had several comments.
Did we see those?
Yeah, so they're available publicly in the DEP portal. Like if you just
Why don't
Google,
we just send it to them?
I will send it to them.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Thank
They
you.
they have more technical ones like about depth of groundwater for some of the detention.
Yeah.
That's important stuff. Yeah, I'd love that.
yeah,
Yes,
but just anyone can look up any notice of intent that's submitted to DEP. If you look,
Okay.
if you just Google like DEP NOI lookup, their portal comes up.
I know,
And-
but I would not know to Google that, so that's helpful.
Yeah, I'm. That's why I'm telling you now. It's a useful portal to know about.
Okay.
And you can look up any permit number and you can just search for Sherborn, and then you can put in dates, and you could look for every NOI that's happened within the last year. And 9 times out of 10, DEP says nothing except that it was submitted with them and it has a file number. And then once in a blue moon, they have some comments. And they actually had comments. So,
Oh, great.
yep.
Right, and so we'll see. Okay, so we'll be a little more careful about how we our
Thank
emails.
you.
Sorry about that, and thank you, Jacob, for bringing it up. Takes a bunch of us to figure it all out together. Okay. Yeah, I know it's still a ways away because I guess we haven't actually granted I guess at some point we have to deal with a permit for it. And move forward on that. Okay. We have 2 minutes. Let's see. Okay. I guess let's see, with Zion Lane, I see Richard is here and Dan's here. Okay. Okay, actually, there's something I forgot to do. In a minute. I am
Oh,
the continued hearing on drafting changes to the Sherborn wetland regulations. I'm opening that, and I am now continuing that as on the agenda, continuing that to December 5th at 7:20 without any discussion today. Do I have a
Is that
second?
a motion?
Yes.
Then I second.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Courtney?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Glad I had that minute to reflect. Okay, 7:50. Notice hereby given that the Conservation Commission of the Town of Sherborn will hold a virtual public hearing using Zoom technology at 7:50 p.m. on November 7th, 2024. The notice of intent NOI hearing will be held pursuant to Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws as amended, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sherborn Wetlands Bylaw, to consider a proposal by the applicant, Richard Littlefield, for the replacement of a septic system within a 100-foot riverfront area and wetland BVW at 5 Zions Lane, map 11, lot 9. This application is available for viewing at the Sherborn Conservation Office. All persons desiring to be heard will be given opportunity to speak at this hearing. Okay, do we have all the paperwork and such, Joyce?
we do.
Okay. So, I'll let you take it away, either Richard or Dan.
Dan, are you going to present?
Yes. For the record, Dan McIntyre representing the homeowners who are on the call tonight as well. Can I share my screen?
As usual, of course.
All right. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So the Littlefields purchased this property maybe about a year ago. They're going to renovate the house, and part of that renovation includes a new septic system to replace the cesspools that are there now. So to orientate you, over on the right-hand side is Zion's Lane, heading down to North Main Street at the bottom of the screen. This house it's a very old house. It was built probably in the 1800s. Currently served by a cesspool over here on the left-hand side of the house and an overflow cesspool. The wetlands were delineated by Goddard Consulting, and quite a bit of the property is wet. And the 50-foot buffer zone and 100-foot buffer zone come out right up to about the house here. Based on the on-site well and the well of the neighbor, we can't really replace it where the cesspools are. So we are pushing the new leach field into the buffer zone of the wetland. We are keeping it out of the 50-foot buffer zone, but it will be in the 100-foot buffer zone to make this work. We're proposing an alternative technology, the Elgin system, which is intended to treat the effluent better than a conventional system, to put it in this area. It will be a gravity system. We've got a septic tank here coming down to the distribution box and 3 trenches here. As I mentioned, we keeping the septic system outside the 50-foot buffer here, but we do have some grading for the system because we have to mount it up because of groundwater. So we have some grading going into the buffer zone. This particular area has already been degraded. It's partially lawn in this area, some old shrubs, that type of thing in this area that we're grading down to. Most of this buffer zone is disturbed. We are proposing to take down 5 trees in this area in order to get the septic system in. And I believe there was one additional tree that the homeowner applied to take down because it was in danger of falling. So I think we're looking at a total of 6 trees in the buffer zone we're going to propose to take down. And as mitigation for that, we're providing a couple of things. One is we're proposing on the slope of the septic system to do a mix of shrubs and trees. We're proposing 2 red maples, one here, and then a variety of shrubs along the slope of this of the septic system, hoping that the buffer zone will kind of restore here while we maintain just a lawn area over the leaching system itself. In addition to the plantings, as I mentioned, this previous 50-foot buffer zone that was disturbed, we're proposing to put some rocks along the 50-foot buffer line and kind of make this a no-mow area. So let nature just take it back in here and restore that buffer zone. Other than that, I don't think there are anything else I can add. I think we could open up to questions at this point.
Okay, thank you. Although I guess, what do you have, 2 or more monuments? I can't tell. Markers?
Oh, yes, we are putting in 3 wetland bounds with markers. 1, 2, and a 3rd one hidden over here someplace, right here at the top of the slope.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah, I see that now. Okay. Any comments you'd like to add, Joyce?
No, I thought he was very thorough in mitigation.
Any questions from commissioners?
Hard to come up with questions when I think he's anticipated what I would normally come up with. I like getting rid of cesspools, that's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. Any other commissioners before I go to the public?
Nothing here.
Bob?
Yes, good evening. I just have a couple of questions. Could you say again, Dan, what the the mitigation plan is in terms of the number of trees that you'll be planting to replace? I think you said 6 that were going out.
Yes, here's the planting table. We've got 9 bushes and 2 trees for a total of 11. Which was
Right.
based on the initial submittal of 5 trees removal. But the homeowner does have a danger tree out there that they added
Sure.
after the fact. So there's a total of 6 trees, 5 related to the septic system and 1 danger tree.
Can I chime in there, Dan? I think it's 4 for the septic and 1 that I added. So for a total of 5 in the
Was it?
buffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a total of 5 trees then, my mistake.
And you're planting 2 trees in return.
And 9 shrubs.
Yeah, no, I got that. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess my comment is really more about kind of the commission and its consistency. I was under the impression from when I've been through this process a few times that 1 for 1, at a minimum 1 for 1 was the standard. And I'm seeing here that it's 5 to 2 is what's being proposed. The other thing I would ask is that Dan, did you consider putting the septic back where the cesspool was, if there's not a technical reason you can't be in that area, and actually putting the well out on the 50-foot buffer line? Obviously, a well is much less invasive to the wetlands than a septic system. Just a curiosity.
No, we did not consider that. Typically, if a person has a good well that provides them water, it's better to keep that, because drilling a well is kind of a crapshoot. You just never know what you might get or how deep you have to go.
Sure, I'm familiar with it. Absolutely.
Where the cesspools are now would have been too close to the abutter's well. We've got a well radius coming right up through here.
Oh, okay. So you're not
There's
showing.
just no room up here.
You're not showing the well radius on the plan. Anyway, those were all my questions.
It's
Thank
on
you.
the plan.
it is on the plan. I'm not. I guess I'm
Yes.
just.
So the
It's
neighbor's
probably
well is
a bit
right down here on
small.
the left hand.
Oh, okay. Got it. Now I see it. Yes, thank you. So yeah, you couldn't put the septic where I was talking about, where the cesspool is. You're right. Yep.
Okay.
And I guess I'm just curious the commission's thoughts on mitigation standards.
So we have talked about, this is a little bit different too. This is an existing situation, an existing, this previously disturbed area. And we have requested either 1 for 1 or 2 shrubs for 1 tree, so that, and he meets the requirements here. One of the 5 trees they were taking down is dead. And I had asked the homeowner to wrap that tree into this rather than doing a tree removal plan. In addition to that, they're eliminating some of the existing lawn as mitigation and putting up boulders as a barrier. So, this is a septic repair. It's usually a burden on the existing homeowner. And we try to work with the applicant so that they are able to replace their septic systems and still protect the environment.
I guess from a public policy perspective, I'm not clear on the difference between an existing home or a new home.
Well, that
Well,
was,
an existing home, this one here has previously disturbed area. It's got lawn, it's
Sure.
got,
Sure.
so I think you do understand the difference. I'm sorry.
I don't understand that. Well, I agree there is a difference between undisturbed land and disturbed land completely, but I don't agree that just because there's a house on the property already versus not should really change mitigation in disturbing the wetlands. That's
Oh, you
just.
gotta give me a break.
Excuse me. We're not going to have people jumping in and shouting without the chair giving permission to speak.
Anyway, I'm all set. I'm always interested.
I can address some of that. Jacob, did you want to speak before I go?
Just a question for I guess really for Joyce. One of the considerations that often comes up when we're asking about these mitigation things is how much room there is on the site for planting new trees here. And I'm just looking at some of the aerial imagery, and I don't see much space where you could add more trees. But I wonder if that actually aligns with what you've seen on the ground.
No, I agree. Well, the aerial imagery doesn't really reflect clearly the lawn area because it's the tree cover masks some of it. But they were doing the back slope, so they're planting on the back slope, which would be open, and those are shrubs. They should handle the whatever slight shading there is better than the trees, and then they have the trees in the area that's open lawn. So I think they all have a good chance of surviving.
I agree with Jacob. There's many cases where, especially with a septic replacement, and we're dealing with a lot of site constraints, that there simply isn't a place to plant additional trees. And we're not going to say, okay, don't replace the cesspool, keep polluting the groundwater, because you can't put all the trees back in. And I think that's why the commission has some flexibility. And I'm also not going to put trees where I think they're just going to grow back into the septic and wreck it again. So, we always ask for as many trees as we can get to get close to, 2-to-1, 1-to-1, depending on really on site constraints.
Zach, did you want to go?
Thanks, Michael. Zachary McBride, 6 Maple Street, and a butter to the property. I just wanted to state my support for Richard's efforts here. I think it's a great historic property in town, and I think the mitigation plan makes sense given the site constraints and what I understand, significant amount of shade and high humidity areas on the site.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I guess people have said a lot of what I was going to say. But yes, the mitigation there is about right, whether there's places to plant trees versus ask for more shrubs. And to some extent, returning altered land to unmanaged land, especially in the 50-foot zone, is particularly valuable as a mitigation option for us, so that it's generally a mixture of factors and that are very site specific and it's what they have to offer. So in this case, it's not a simple one of just replacing trees on a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 level there, and we don't have a specific ratio because they are site considerations. Okay, then I guess you have the monuments. We have the shrubs there. We have that no mow area that's being incorporated. Are there any other questions or issues before we, in terms of any other conditions, the erosion control is appropriate there, Joyce?
Yes. They're
Okay.
wrapping it all the way around from the barn, all the way around, almost to the
Oh,
driveway.
now I see it. Okay. And I could see where there's sort of a tree line there that they talk about. So there's a lot of tree coverage there already.
Michael, can I make one more brief comment? Because
Sure.
Bob, you haven't had the benefit of being here for all these septic meetings, but I just wanted to point out that you may have thought we had not made too many comments about this particular project, but we've been working with Dan for a number of years and beating up his plans and requiring certain things, more mitigation, removal of lawn. And it's to the point now where when he comes in, he has done everything we have ever asked and more. So that's what you're seeing here tonight. It's not that we don't care.
No, I don't oppose this project, as you probably all know. I just have, I'm really kind of crazy about being consistent, and I don't see any difference between, I believe this cesspool probably has to be replaced because the home changed hands.
But that's not the issue, Bob.
No,
It's
no, but
an existing house, and it's not a matter of an existing house.
Michael, you
replacement.
interrupted me. What I was saying is that it probably had to be replaced. And to me, we shouldn't treat, I have no opposition. Please approve it. But I do want us to pay attention to being consistent from one project to the next. Oh, I have one further question of Dan. Is there an increase in the number of bedrooms on this system? I can't see it on the plan here.
No, there is not.
Okay, perfect. Yep.
Okay, well, we've hopefully made the case that in this form, in terms of getting appropriate level of mitigation, that we are consistent in dealing with what we do, even though it's not a simple mechanistic thing of a ratio of trees. And I'll just leave it at that for now. In that case, I will move to close the hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Michael, aye. Jacob,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Okay, hearing is closed. And okay, in terms of, I'll have to work on having some sort of more simple findings. Joyce, something to, let's put on our list to talk about.
So this is gonna have the standard conditions, no stockpiling in the 100 foot. Dan, I did not actually see a stockpile area. Are you out of the 100 foot buffer zone with that?
We don't really anticipate stockpiling.
Okay,
Whatever we excavate out of the septic system is gonna be used to make the berm for that slope. So the
Alright.
contractor will be excavating it out and then building that slope as he goes.
So
okay.
there's no
Then
addition-
then it would be the standard conditions that we have for the septic.
Okay,
No stockpiling, only those trees removed that are allowed, inspection prior to and inspection after.
okay. I find that this project gives a great benefit of replacing a cesspool, which is of value to the town as a whole, as well as the wetlands. And with the mitigation proposed and discussed, will compensate for some of the alteration done on the area of the septic field. And as such, this project will not have a significant adverse impact on the wetlands, so that they can move ahead. Do I have a second?
Second.
One of you did it. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Michael, aye. Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Jacob,
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
go and clean up
Very
things.
much.
Okay,
And
let's see,
that-
now it's
That
8:10.
paperwork will be ready and
In no time.
Within
Okay.
21 days.
all right. As the homeowners would like, they have a tree contractor lined up. They'd like to go in and at least get the trees cut down. We won't do any
Well-
stumping or anything, but they'd like to
Everybody
cut.
needs to go sign forms.
We'll do our best to get it out. It won't be, it certainly will not be before Tuesday, but Deborah
No,
will
yeah.
call.
And if you could just give Jean a heads up so we could start the Board of Health process.
She always gets the email first.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
We got that down like clockwork now. Okay. Now, we're a little late here, but.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay, notice is hereby given that the Conservation Commission of the Town of Sherborn will hold a virtual public hearing using Zoom technology at now 8:11 on the November 7th of 2024. The request for determination of applicability, or RDA, hearing will be held pursuant to the Sherborn Wetlands Bylaw only to consider a proposal by the applicant, Phoenix Partners Farm Road LLC, Robert Murchison, for septic and well design plan for a single-family house development within a wetland buffer zone at 65 Farm Road, Lot 3, Map 11, Lot 60A. This application is available for viewing at the Sherborn Conservation Commission. All persons desiring to be heard need an opportunity to speak at this hearing. Okay.
So if I may start, this is a repeat of the hearing that we did previously. We've already approved this RDA. When I issued this RDA, I checked the box that said it was filed under the Wetlands Protection Act, and it was not. So that created a lot of issues. I've spoken with DEP, and they've conferred with their counsel and determined that we couldn't just simply rewrite the permit and ratify it at a meeting, that Bob needed to withdraw the permit, withdraw the application, and refile the RDA so that we could act on it again and file the appropriate permit when it's completed.
Yes, which Bob has done. Thank you.
So just for the record, can we just confirm absolutely nothing has changed about this, right? Correct?
Nothing, yeah.
Okay.
Except for the box, of course. Box.
The box, no,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, the box will be different.
Will be different, correct. So it will go out with, it'll be the same permit. It's just, I will not check the WPA box.
Okay.
And I just want to say for the record that we're all human and the error is totally understandable and not a problem in my mind. We all make those mistakes. I make them.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we certainly all do. A lot of paperwork. Now, in terms of going over what was done last time, and then we can get any public comment, since it is a new hearing, and so we have to start again. We had the conditions of that there's no work permitted on Lot 3 without the installation of erosion control on Lot 4. And that there will be one tree removed, which I forgot what we specified. It's the small one. I think the smaller one next to the driveway, I believe, on the plan. And all disturbed areas be stabilized. There's no stockpiling in the 100-foot buffer zone. No equipment will be stored or refueled in the 100-foot buffer zone. What is not here, and that's why that I would just like to bring up, you, Bob, is whether we are concerned about there are two things. The other trees that are not being cut down that are in the buffer zone there, is there a need for doing some sort of tree protection to ensure their protection during the construction process?
I mean, Michael, we fully intend to protect the trees. It's in our best interest. Obviously, it's in the best interest of the resources. But I would respectfully request that this be approved as it was originally approved, and we will protect the trees. But I really kind of object to making changes at this point.
I'm not surprised. And I'll still bring up another.
And it's not that I'm not going to protect the trees. For me, it's
Oh, no, I understand. All right, point taken.
I thought we had discussed that, but
if we
it's
discussed
also
it and it's in there, I'm fine with it. I mean,
also, it's hard to remember exactly. Do you have it in front of you, Michael?
Yes.
Because
we failed to put it in the conditions. And so
it was discussed in the hearing, and it was made very clear that those trees out front. So if they aren't protected, if it starts to look like they aren't being protected, an enforcement order would be the only mechanism.
Yeah.
But
which is fine.
but they've said that they were gonna put the erosion, they have the erosion control up in front of the trees, so.
Uh, well, question is, that's the other thing I wanted to say. There is, we have that condition about the erosion control, but on the plan, Bob, there is another line of erosion control.
Honestly, Michael, I'm not in my office and I don't have it.
Okay.
If you want to put it up, I can
Sure.
discuss it with you, but
Well,
I
there
can't.
is really, so there's basically two lines of erosion control here. So I guess maybe we don't have to talk about it because you already have erosion control on the plan that we've accepted. So maybe it's a moot issue. You don't have to bring it up since those trees would be, as you say, Joyce, they're protected by the erosion control.
Right.
If it's that there's extra erosion controls beyond what is required on the plan, then I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, no, there's the erosion control there and the condition about doing the other erosion control. So I think we're well covered and the trees implicitly are
Right.
sort of protected by that erosion control.
The reason we had asked for the erosion control that, or stated that the erosion control for lot 4 needed to be in place is because the driveway that accesses lot 3 comes down that common driveway. So we wanted the erosion control in place while they were doing lot 3.
Right.
So lot 3 also has erosion control.
Right, so we're
Yeah,
fine.
and as a practical matter, it's almost certainly the lot 4 work will be done first for I think what is a fairly obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yes, one would not like to have
A house without a
big development.
driveway, yeah, that would be uncomfortable, wouldn't it? Certainly wouldn't sell very well.
So I'll bring up something that we discussed, but I think we missed putting it in here, and whether you'd consider putting it in or just consider factoring it in, is that as we've done in a lot of orders now and permits, we don't allow when the driveways are in the buffer zone jurisdiction that there'd be no coal tar sealants applied as opposed to the alternative ones that are there out in the market. And that was just, we didn't put it in the old one there, but we would like to add it to this, but that's because.
What I've said, sorry, if you're done, Michael, I have.
I was just going to say that we already have that, I think, in the other one for lot 4 anyway, I believe. But yes, so.
Yeah, and what I would say is, and I've said this to you before, if there's something that you would like to see happen because it's better for the environment that's not in there, or you legally don't have the obligation, I mean, the right to ask for, I am always interested, Michael, in you telling me, because I'll review it and I'll strongly consider doing it. I have no problem with
I
that.
think you accepted doing it on another project, so therefore I'd like to think that you reviewed it.
To be honest, I don't recall at this moment, but if you say so, sure. What I'm obviously objecting to is changing anything tonight on this. I don't think it's.
I understand it's a tricky one, given our mistake in the first place. But okay, we'll see about that one there. Before we move any further, do other commissioners have any comments before we go to the public?
No.
No.
Okay, Brian Moore?
Hi, I apologize for my gaffe earlier. Our 18-year-old cat threw up in my shoe and I was not expecting to find that. So I apologize. But as for this matter, we've supplied the commission with, I think, 2 letters since the last go around, one of which was appeal to the Mass DEP. And unfortunately, my wife's computer is not working either. So, but Mary did speak to some people at DEP who said that we would have an opportunity to re-raise whatever issues we had in our appeal at this public hearing. So we sent a letter and distributed it the other day. And I understand that you guys want to move forward with this project, and I'm not opposed to the development side of the project. What I'm opposed to is setting an unbelievable precedent where we have photographic evidence, video evidence, and a timeline that shows the stakes that served as the demarcation for the flooding were based on the January flooding of 2024 on that lot. The flooding got worse before it ended. And we have drone footage, we have photographs, all of which have been sent to either the board through their agent or to individual board members, showing that the extent of the flooding, and yes, it was an extraordinary flood, but again, that's what that land is intended to do. It serves as a buffer, protecting all of us who live down gradient there from like crazy stormwater flows. And to give you an idea of what we're talking about, the amount of water that the discrepancy between what was shown in the applicant's plan and what was shown in our plan showing the 216.5 elevation of flood is not a small amount of water. It basically equates to what flows over, Niagara Falls in 5 to 10 seconds. I mean, it's tremendous buffering capacity for stormwater. And I think being cavalier with that boundary doesn't do anyone service. Now, if anyone can call up our letter, you'll see that where that proposed common drive is, we believe 216.5 is the elevation where the flooding stopped in 2024 in February, which is essentially across the 20-foot common drive based on the applicant's elevation plans that they submitted. And I don't know what to say other than if this commission is going to approve this common drive in this scenario without subjugating it to the appropriate WPA review process. I think it is, people talk about due process and people talk about, setting dangerous precedent. I think this would set a terrible precedent. And I think it would be entirely inconsistent with the commission's previous findings. And, I point to that letter, to the evidence that was provided, to the drone footage and all of it. And, I understand that procedures got a little screwy during this application process, and that's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, but this is our opportunity to fix that mistake and properly protect this resource area, because that elevation line of the 2024 floods that's on this plan here is, I don't even think at 216. I think it's like more than half a foot off from where it should be. And on that field, half a foot equates to 20, 30 feet if you look at our submittal. So if you're going to approve this, I think you should at least acknowledge that the stakes that were used for this mapping don't accurately reflect the full extent of flooding of 2024.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other specific comments you want to make?
Well, I got a lot of them, but that's it for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
As we discussed, sure. Thank you for all your info there. As we discussed last time, the 216 line is actually where the edge of the wetlands are. When we did our own review of where things are and what data we had, that it seemed to match what you were talking about the 216 line, which is right along here. And what review we had of the documents and where photos were obviously in different angles, we will stay with the fact that we feel that this isolated land subject to flooding is difficult, obviously, to sometimes capture perfectly, but in this case, we feel like we've done a reasonable job of capturing it with changes that have evolved over time and tried to reflect more recent flooding. So all I could say to you is that at this point, and I don't know if other commissioners want to say anything more, but that we don't see that this is that much different from what the information that you've provided to us and suggested around the what the topo line is for the flooding there. So in that point, we are staying with this decision here. and what this delineation has. Does any other commissioners want to say anything? I don't know how much more we want to discuss this issue, but I'll let, we'll have one more round of stuff, if new stuff is going to be said. I would appreciate only new things being said, so that we can move on. Bob, you first.
Yeah, all I wanted to say, I'm not going to spend any time rebutting it because from my perspective, the commission reviewed this line as presented by an engineer. It was staked, it was surveyed. I don't think in the history of the Sherborn Conservation Commission, there has been something that's been more carefully scrutinized and frankly, done with professional engineers and professional surveys. So I certainly stand by it. And what I would suggest, more generically, is that if people want to dispute things like this, they need to show engineered plans. They need to show science, because drawing things on an overhead photograph is not engineered wetlands delineation. And I think in order, if, obviously anybody is welcome to rebut things my engineers put forward, but I would just ask that it be based in engineering and science and not on things drawn on a photograph. Thank you.
Before you go, Mary, I'll say that it doesn't have to be fully engineered. The commission will entertain if people have something reliably they have the photographs and other kind of information that is also acceptable for us to consider. And so I appreciate your comment, Bob, but I would say that other levels of information would be acceptable for us to consider and to discuss as to how we make a decision. But going on, Mary?
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that, our ability to appeal this is limited to, almost eliminated at this point, because our opportunity to sort of, say that we think this is going to prevent, harm to the wetlands is now for us to take the Concom and the town to Superior Court with a lawsuit. So I think that, I just want to make sure everybody's aware that when it's a local bylaw, the jurisdiction is the Superior Court. And so we are saying that this falls under the WPA because it's within the setback of the isolated, or it's not, I'm not saying this the right way, but we believe that the delineation entitles it to protection under the WPA, which would entitle us to an opportunity to appeal it to the Mass DEP and not have to file suit against the town or the conservation on this decision. And so, I don't know who should be deciding that. I think, we've presented evidence. We think it's been scientific and factual, and I know Bob disagrees with us, but there's a lot of water that went up there over that, period of time last year, and records show that it's happening every 4 years. So we might be in a period of severe drought right now. And, maybe he'll build the road and it'll be built high enough that it will never flood, but it's going to have an impact to that area to store water moving forward. And so that's what we're opposed to. And, we did present you with a lot of information back in early September before you made this initial determination. And we presented additional information now. And, we respect Joyce's expertise and we respect all of your expertise, but we think that the delineation is within the WPA protection zone. And we think it deserves a little bit more than you're giving it. So thank you.
Okay, as to your recourse, I'm not quite sure. I guess it's been discussed as to whether, if you feel it falls under the WPA, whether whether you can make that
No,
request.
you tell them that the DEP said no.
Yeah, no, I spoke with someone at the DEP, and I might be the same person, Bob, that you spoke with, Georgia Prendergast, who works with Jill Provençal, who's the Northeast Region Director, and she explained to me that because this is local by law, that the only, jurisdiction that falls under is under home rule, which is under the Superior Court. So for us to appeal it, It's only through a lawsuit against the town or against the Concom. And I think that's a much higher bar, for us and for others to have to pursue. And that's why we want you to be very mindful about this decision that you're making. I appreciate that we have bylaws that are stricter than the state, but at this situation, we believe that, it deserves the minimum state protection. So that's where we are. And
So I'm not sure what you mean by the minimum state, but just to move forward on all this, there will be, if there is flooding that is not appropriately captured by whatever is done here and in the future, then there'll be probably some other recourses. If there is, they'll have to deal with the floods over the road, and if it goes into Farm Road, there'll have to be other issues there, so that I feel like the town and residents will have some other recourse. I'd like to think there are other recourses. If it turns out that the flooding issues were significantly underestimated, and hopefully there'll be, to the extent that there's any much development here, they'll deal with some of the stormwater issues appropriately, which has been talked about in the other permit that they need to get a stormwater permit if they have to go forward with more development upstream up road of this. So I think that there are some other aspects or other means to address if the flooding is more than that. Bob, do you have anything new to add?
Yeah, I do, Michael, and I fully recognize we're getting to the end of this, and I'm confident the commission's going to do the right thing here. But I have to, it's important to me that the commission understand that we are talking tonight, okay? Tonight is about Lot 3. I think we all agree the agenda item is Lot 3 and the vote is on Lot 3. On Lot 3, in order for the WPA to come into play, the driveway would have to move the wetland line or the flood line that you're talking about would literally have to move 90 feet for the WPA to come into play on Lot 3. And I think we can all agree that's absurd. We disagree on lots of things. But literally, if you look on the plan you have up there, you will see that the flood line has to move all the way to that property line. Literally, it has to move from where it's shown and where it was delineated to the property line of Lot 3. And that's an absurd concept.
Unlikely, yes.
And I don't
Okay,
understand, and the commission
I don't
needs
think,
to
I don't want,
understand that. You don't think the commission should understand that?
We understand it, but you don't have to. We've already stated that we're.
But what Mary said was off by 90 feet. And
Well, right, she could say that, and that's.
I should just not rebut it, is what you're.
Right, you don't have to do it. We've already made our decisions.
Everybody's entitled to say their piece here, and then the commission's gonna vote.
And
We
I'm
will
allowed
listen
to
to
rebut
everything.
factually incorrect
Hey,
things.
Bob, you can stop talking now.
Okay. Mary, if you're just gonna go back and forth on this, I don't want.
I don't feel like we should go back and forth on this anymore.
Yes, unless it's something.
This is becoming very unproductive. I understand that people are not going to be happy with this decision, and I can't change that. And
Okay. Anybody on the commission have any other comments or questions?
No, but this is a public hearing, so I agree with everything you guys just said. But if Mary's got one more new, relevant piece of information to say, I think we should let her say it. Just because I don't want anyone to come back at a later date and say that someone wasn't allowed to speak at a public hearing.
Sure, I agree. I said that it was something new.
That said, I will say, we do keep asking people, is this something new? We're not going to go back and forth. I get it. I want to hear everybody's information, but it's not just a free for all where we're just going to have argument and we're going to lose control of the meeting. So I'm fine going on if we have something new to add.
Mary, sorry if I cut you off and you wanted to say something more. something new?
No, I would just ask that the commission, has referred, I would ask that, if everybody's referred to the documents that we've provided, and that, if you feel comfortable that this is what it is, then, we'll go along with that. But we think that the evidence shows that, the building that he's doing between lot 3 and lot 4 is going within an area that is, in that flood zone area. And as Brian said, it's an awful lot of water that this wet meadow is absorbing. And for those of us that are down gradient of it, and the septics that are going to be put in between it and our well, we care about it, and it's concerning.
And I, just one final point is that, I would much prefer to have Mass DEP adjudicate a matter with regards to wetlands than to have a Superior Court do it. And the premise that lot 4 or whatever, the thing needs to move 90 feet is absolute bunk, because the other is contingent on having controls in place for the other lot and relies on a common drive which goes through the flooded area. So please consider that. Thank you.
Sure, you can consider that in terms of any issues with lot 4. But thank you. We've looked at your information, and I think we've settled on a decision as to what things are. And there are other recourses later if things turn out to be particularly flawed or unexpected. So, anything else from anybody? Okay. Now, coming back, so that I think we've discussed all the conditions there. And Bob, you're not sure you remember about coal tar, but hopefully you'll never use it, because I'd like to put it in there because it's particularly hazardous. And I'm pretty sure it's in your lot 4, as well as.
If it is, then I will follow it, absolutely. But if it's not, Michael, please send me the information. I mean it.
Okay, I'll always send it again. I've sent it to you before, but I'll send it again. Okay. I move that this is an RDA, a -3 determination with the discussions, with the conditions discussed. And the project can proceed based on those conditions.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Courtney?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Where are you there, Steve?
Nay.
And Jacob?
Aye.
Okay. We're done with that. Thank you, everybody.
Michael, can I make one comment?
Sure.
I know you've just voted, but I would just like to take offense to the criticism laid towards my husband. He is an environmental professional. He's a licensed site professional. He understands science. He understands the hydrology of the location. So I guess through the chair to Bob, I take offense at that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I
Okay,
take
I
offense at
agree
a
with
lot
you.
of stuff, so.
It's all right, Bob. I accept that, and I shouldn't even have let such talk about what's called.
All right,
absurd.
we're not going to be trading insults.
I know, and I shouldn't have let those kind of things even go by
It's
in the
over.
first place. So I made a mistake, and I apologize to you, Mary and Brian, for letting that. Okay, I think we are through with the evening. Oh no, we have one more hearing. Sorry. Oh, geez. I guess I was getting a little thing there. Okay, we're a little late here. Okay, now, notice is hereby given that the Sherborn Conservation Commission of the town of Sherborn will hold a virtual public hearing using Zoom technology on November 7th, 2024. The request for determination of applicability hearing will be held pursuant to Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws as amended, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sherborn Wetland Bylaw. To consider a proposal by the applicant, the town of Sherborn, Jeremy Marset, for the construction of a boardwalk to provide pedestrian and cyclist access over the Bailey Brook within a wetland buffer zone at the Bailey Trail, Old Orchard Road, map 6, lot 83. This application is available for viewing at the Sherborn Conservation Office. All persons desiring to be heard will give an opportunity to speak at this hearing. Okay, and do you want to do?
That's
I
me.
don't, Michael, can you put up the, Karen had some pictures in her package. If you could
Sure.
put that up. I am not in a position to do that.
Okay, go pull it up here on my screen.
Particularly to show where the trails are.
Sure.
So Karen's working with the trails out here on oops, sorry, and have been trying to. There's two areas that they're working with. This is the first area that we're talking about. It's an existing trail that goes over a. It's not a very defined stream in this area. It's coming out. It's at the head of a wetland pocket. And in the wettest times of the year, what's happening is it's similar to what was happening very similar to what was happening over on the trail behind the town garage. And so all they're going to be doing here is just basically putting down a boardwalk, and it'll be the exact same boardwalk that we approved for the town garage, the same construction, same materials, but it won't be as long. It's shorter than that one was. So it's really just to allow passage without disturbing that trail. Right now, the trail is getting eroded during the wet times of the year. And then I'll Karen, if you didn't mean to take over, if you have anything to add.
No,
to
you did
that.
a great job. No, so I just ditto.
So they have another project that they're going to file a notice of intent with, but this was such a straightforward. We wanted to file something, even though it's really very straightforward, and get this before them so they could start construction of this area.
Yeah, so I did want to add that this is an existing trail, so there's really no vegetation that would be destroyed with the construction. It is to keep pedestrians and cyclists on that path and not straying off and widening that impact to the wetlands. So there's no trees that have to be removed. I didn't even see any shrubs that need to be removed.
No, it is an existing trail.
Okay. Now, do you have, so in the public work, the DPW one, basically it's what board? It's basically just the supports of some with cement or whatever it is, but we'll just.
No, so no, this is just, so you approved a similar one. It looks like maybe 4 feet, maybe 8 by 3. Is that a thing? That size? Then with 2 boards, 2 boards going over it. Do you have a picture of it? Is there a picture of it? Can you go further down? There might be a picture in there of that.
I don't think so.
No, okay. I think I submitted it after the fact.
I'm trying to bring up the one for the same details for the highway garage.
I did submit one, but I think it was after I submitted the original filing.
Yes, but you gave a really impressive technical description.
I should have checked on that. Maybe 4 by 2, is that a thing?
Usually the smaller number comes first.
Oh, 2 by 4. That's right.
Just to give you a little heads up.
Geez, I'm learning so much tonight.
Yeah, there you go. But while she's looking.
So a picture's worth 1,000 words, Michael.
That's for sure. People have any, I mean, this is clearly a great benefit to the trail there and to the wetland resources there. And that's hopefully will keep people also from, as I said, widening the trail. Before I go to the public there, do we, and we get more stuff there. Does anybody on the commission have any immediate questions? You can have more questions later.
I guess the one question I have is I assume we would want to just copy over all the conditions we used for the prior project. Were there any interesting ones in there? I don't actually remember.
Well, we're looking that up. When she
Yeah,
gets,
I do have the order, I mean, I have the determination for that one. I was trying to find the plan details. Because
Michael definitely had conditions about pressure treated lumber and cutting things
Yeah,
elsewhere.
I have it, hold on, let me grab it, I had it right here.
right, and if they're gonna use the pressure treated, it's a micronized copper, which has much less leaching than a lot of other stuff, but that seems to be all that's available these days, so we're in luck. While we're looking for things, Bob, did you want to have
So
any?
what we had for
Oh,
the construction, we had only, the only wood treatment allowed for this project is micronized copper, AZOLE. No construction equipment within the 100-foot buffer zone, that things would be carried in by hand and put in place. No stockpiling in the 100-foot buffer zone, no tree or shrub removal. And
No cutting of materials?
upon completion, we're doing an inspection. Say that again, Michael?
That, as somebody mentioned, as I think Courtney said, that we wouldn't, or Jacob, that there'd be no cutting of materials in the buffer zone, in the resource area. So you don't get, unless they collect. the
So
soil.
yes, where possible, the wooden materials for the boardwalk will be cut outside the 100-foot buffer zone and carried into place. No sawdust, shavings, or debris from the construction will remain within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Okay. While people are thinking about that, Bob, did you have any sort of questions?
Yeah,
or
I just
comments?
want to say, as someone that owns a good chunk of this trail on the property across Route 16, I'm wildly in favor of this project and commend the folks who are doing it. To the extent anyone wants to invest in doing a wetland crossing on my property, I would be more than happy to assent. But anyway, hats off to the people getting this done. Thank you.
Yeah, the Sherborn Forest and Trail has done wonderful things and helped us a lot on a lot of stuff like this. So they're ones to be approached about that. Okay. Do people have any other conditions or comments on this? Hearing none, I guess. So basically, we're going to copy everything from the last one there. And what's the length of this? Do we have the length of this particular?
It was
It's about 15, maybe 10, 15.
well, the whole length of it, because we pushed it out, it was about 30 feet. The area that we're crossing is, as Karen pointed out, like 10 to 15 feet. But the boardwalk would be, in order to blend into the trail on both sides, it would maybe a bit longer.
Okay. Hopefully we can get a little specification of that, or there's a drawing somewhere to just have in our file about what they're doing.
I can forward that to Joyce tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I move that this is let this project go forth as a negative 3 with all of the conditions discussed there and during this hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Jacob,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Okay, good. We'll get some improvement here, this trail. It's great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's see if I've really done the agenda here. I think we're done. Unless anybody has anything, I'm gonna move to adjourn.
There was an item on the agenda about the ongoing 40B projects. Are those nothing to do? Nothing
That was
in there?
just in case.
Okay.
We dealt with it and Apple Hill was withdrawn in the last CBA meeting. So there's nothing new there. I guess that was new, that they withdrew it last week. So one less thing to comment on. Okay, and now we are meeting
So
in 2
we're gonna
weeks.
put some forms out.
Yeah,
Oh,
They're out, Joyce.
are they out?
Yep, everything's out.
Oh, you're awesome.
She's-
Okay.
She's ready.
Well, I know people
Yay,
might want to
Deborah.
go away on the long weekend, so catch them while you can.
Oh,
Thank
right.
you.
That's right.
I'll go
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Thank you,
Yay.
Deborah.
okay, there's a special candy bars for the first 4 people who get there.
Oh, nice. I
Yeah.
go right now, but I think the police would get suspicious.
No, I showed up there late at night. They don't care.
It's not clear who's there anymore, actually. Whereas there used to be somebody there all the time. They've outsourced that. So it's a different setup over there. Okay, and so in 2 weeks, which is a week before Thanksgiving, we have our next meeting. And so, do we have much on that agenda yet, or?
We do have a couple of things on the agenda. We have a septic RDA, and we have an ANRAD that will probably just be an explanation, not a presentation, not a final review. And we
Okay.
have the continued meeting for 3 Oldfields.
Oh, okay. Hopefully they'll get us stuff there, whatever it is, whoever it's on. Okay, good. I move to adjourn the meeting at 8:53.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Michael, aye. Steve?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.